Hello and welcome to Melomaniax, the podcast where we take unbiased deep dives into the biggest musicians and artists of all time. I'm one of your hosts, Ashton.
And I'm Dallas. We have a really special episode today. I'm really excited for it. But before we do, wanted to remind you guys, please, if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe. If you're on socials, hit us up on Instagram and TikTok. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, if it's, Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and drop us a rating and review if you're enjoying what you're hearing. So today we are we're doing kind of a competition standoff. And so I was born in 1992. Ashton was born in 1993. We decided it'd be fun to pull up the music that was released in each of those years and go head to head and see which year had the better or the bigger music. There's not really a good way to do this, so I think what we're doing is we're just going to kind of converse back and forth. He's going to give me some 93s. I'm going to give him some 92s. And then I have a tally list up here.
Any of your year.
And I haven't looked at any of yours. So but we've each studied our own year. So we kind of have, our strategies and arguments planned, I guess. But I think the best way to do it, like we were saying right before we started, was I'll just tally up like, okay, that's a clear win for 92, or, if it's on the fence, we could be like, yeah, I don't know, that's not really that big of an album. That doesn't really count as a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not really like you say an album and I say an album and then we determine which one wins. It's more of like, if you say an album, then we decide as a group, does that count as a tally mark or no? And then at the end, we will count up all the tallies and see who has the most.
That makes sense. I like that.
Now, there's a lot of music, so obviously we're not going to go through every possible little thing. We're going to probably skip over the ones that we're not super familiar with and that you, the listener, might be. So if there's one that you are like, dude, you forgot blah, 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 then, let us know.
I want to have you start us off, though, because I do feel like...
Okay, so here's I told you I had a couple weird ones that we need to come together and figure out if they count or not.
Okay.
This one's a long shot, and I think it's not going to count, but I'm going to pitch it anyway. Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit was one of the biggest hit singles of 1992. However, it was released at the very end of 1991.
In like December?
It was, I think, September.
September, okay.
But
songs can work like
charted,
that. Yeah, they can.
It charted like in February 92, January 92. And I mean, it was number one. Obviously, that's a massive song. So I don't know if we want to count that towards 92. That definitely hits a gray area.
I was going to stick with purely released in my year.
All right.
But then then I feel like I also at the same time feel like I'm just denying you potential for sure.
No, that's a fair ruling. I'll take that ruling because I think I have some other heavy hitters as well.
Okay.
But I wanted to bring that up. It is listed as 91 as the release, so that's not 92, so we can keep that technically there. There's another one like that I'll bring up real quick that we won't count, but it's probably worth mentioning. To Be With You, which is one of Mr. Big's biggest songs, was also a big number one hit throughout 92, but was released, it looks like, in 91, November. Yeah.
Gotcha. That is, yeah.
Okay, but then here's my first tally mark submission, and that is Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, comes out in 1992.
Oh.
And that's a clear tally there.
Gee, go ahead and mark yourself a point.
That's one of the biggest ones there. Obviously, that's a cover of Dolly Parton's song, which was released in the 70s, but the recording most people know is the Whitney Houston one, and that's the 1992 one.
Did that accompany an album, or was that just a single that she did because of the nature of the cover? I'm wondering. I'm sure she put it on an album, but I'm wondering if that was like a...
There was an album release that was like part of a movie.
Oh, that's right.
I think that's what it was a part of.
That's right.
I just had it pulled up here. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but yeah, it was a part of that. For sure.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I was wondering if that song was just straight from the album, but yeah, I remember that being a cover. I love that song. I haven't listened to it in a while, but usually, what is it? The other one, I Want to Dance with Somebody is always what I hear playing at like grocery stores and stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good one too.
Yeah, love that song.
All right, you're up.
Man, my singles charts aren't that great, but I am gonna hit with probably at least my personal favorite from this year, and that would be, we got Nirvana's Heart Shaped Box.
Nice.
Coming
Was
out
that
in
off
93.
of
the album came out that year.
Oh, 93.
Well.
That's right. I'm forgetting.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was off their second album then? What was their second album
in
called?
Utero, which was In Utero is their third and their final album. Did they have two come out in 92? Now we got to look up Nirvana real quick.
Now I have a question. Do we count the single as a point and the album as a point? Or just the album as a point? Or just the single as a point?
Probably just the album.
Okay, so In Utero, that's 1 point.
I think you use the singles to back up the case for the album.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You use the singles from them to help verify the album, gets you a point. Probably. Which gives me like another that I think I've got a point. For sure point for the couple that I have.
Okay, well, here's another one I'm pitching that I am not familiar with, but I do have the stats pulled up for, and that's End of the Road by Boyz II Men. Came out June 30th, 1992. And in the United States, it spent a then record-breaking 13 weeks at number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100.
Really?
And it was only broken by Whitney Houston's 14 week, I Will Always Love You.
Goodness.
And then it looks like they responded with another album and they kept going back and forth with her. It's kind of funny.
They ruled your year.
I think 13 weeks at number 1, that qualifies as a point there. Although I actually am not super familiar with that song. I probably have heard it a couple times.
I'm trying to look at some of my, okay, this is a number 24 on the Billboard. I'm looking at all these different, I'm seeing for my ones that aren't for sure clear-cut points. Ooh, I didn't know Dolly Parton had a song come out. All right, I think my next one, so Radiohead released their album Pablo Honey, and that had Creep, which is probably their biggest song ever.
Yeah,
on it.
That's a big one.
Yeah, so that was a really, really big one for them. The album artwork is like it's like the sunflower, and it's got a little baby face in the middle.
Oh,
yeah. Like I've seen that album in all kinds of music stores. Definitely one you find all around.
Oh yeah, for sure. My last one. So the list I'm looking at talks about 5 biggest hit singles from this year, and we've talked about 4 of them. This is the last one. It's actually number 4 on the list, and that's by a band called Snap. The song is "Rhythm Is a Dancer." They are German, it looks like, where everyone else on this list was American. I'm not super familiar with this song, but it did spend. It says it was an international success, topping the charts in France, Ireland, Italy, Netherlands, Germany, and the UK, and also hit top 5 in the US on our Billboard charts. And it became the second biggest selling single of 1992. So I bet it's like a dance song. It said, I bet if we put that song on, we would recognize it. I feel like it's one of those songs that's kind of like in the rhythm of the night. One of those,
Yeah.
Just like one of those songs. Yeah. Where you're just like, all the songs are singing about like why you should be dancing if you're not,
Yeah, dude. Those are so funny.
So do we want to count that as a point? I'm not familiar with it. I don't think you are either, but it does have some pretty good charting there.
Yeah, we can give it a point for now. We'll put an asterisk next to that one, I guess, or just we'll solidify the point. I wonder if what was the name of the song you said?
Rhythm Is a Dancer. Do you want to pull it up real quick and listen?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a quick I'm gonna hit the chorus just to see if I've heard it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
I'm just so curious. We gotta verify.
Yep.
Oh, I can hear it through your mic. I've heard that.
I know this one.
Okay. I know that song. Yep.
It's exactly what I said it was.
From the 90s? I would have associated that with that with the 80s for sure.
Yeah, it's 90s in Europe. So
Oh, okay, yeah. They're lagging behind the 10
Europe
years.
always has kind of a different sound. Yeah,
yeah, you're right.
they always have a little bit of a
They've
different
also
sound.
never let go of dance music. That's
very true.
They hold on to that dearly, and that it does really well in the charts over there. Man.
All right.
Well, I feel like I have some good albums, so I'm gonna keep sticking with just shooting some albums at you.
Hit them.
I have Tool's debut, Undertow. Not that the album was great, but it had some good stuff on it, in my opinion.
And
from
it started
our research.
Tool. Yeah, that's huge.
Tool. So like, I feel like just because it's Tool's debut coming out 93, I feel like that's a point, especially since they were one of our subjects. So that one for anybody. What was the one is that Prison Sex and what is the other? I'm trying to remember. Let me click on it. Get the songs list. Undertow. Yeah, that one's got the Prison Sex and Sober. Those were the two hits from that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sober's still a big one.
Yeah, Sober's still really big. I don't know. I haven't been to a show, but I feel like they probably play that one. If they play anything from the first album, they definitely play Sober.
Well, back to 1992, Billy Ray Cyrus released his first release, and
Really?
Achy Breaky Heart was on that.
No way.
So that's a point there. Also, it says, as I hovered over his name here, he's released 16 studio albums and 53 singles since 1992.
Really?
That's crazy. But he's known for Achy Breaky Heart, which was his first one. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like your first one, you knock it out of the park, and then 52 times later, you're like, well, that wasn't quite as good. Like, that's got to be annoying as shit.
He started at the peak of the mountain.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
That's rare.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to
crazy.
get into albums after this, but these are the big standout singles that I see.
Yeah, I've just been hopping with the albums have been doing me well.
Those were parts of albums, so that makes sense too. But
yeah. Man, see, I'm not a big fan of this band, but this is another debut that is meaningful within the music community, and that's the Cranberries with their debut album. Everybody else is doing it, so why can't we?
So they started, yeah.
Yep, and I know the Cranberries are they're pretty big. I know. I'm not sure how much you've listened to them. I actually want to add them to our list. They're a pretty interesting Irish band. So we might need to do a little more deep diving. One that probably could earn your respect.
Well, I have
research,
a few
I feel like
debuts that kick off
debuts?
bands. I have a few. Let's start with Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, well, that
so their debut
hits.
record, so starting that band in 1992, essentially.
Man, what was their debut?
It's just self-titled.
It is the self-titled. Oh yeah. My gosh!
And what it has on it is most of their songs that we know. I think.
Yeah. No, that album is the album. Wow.
I'm trying to find the list here. Where was it? I'm scrolling through the full list.
Dude, I don't know much about that band, but did they have like EPs or anything before? Like how much? I wonder how long they were together as a band before making that album.
They had before making the first one.
Yeah.
That I'm not sure. I know they have I think 3, maybe 4. So they formed in 91. So they pretty quickly just put it out.
Wow.
And the yard guys are out there again. Always when we record. Doesn't matter. We're doing it earlier this time. They're out there. We do it later. They're out there. Different day. They're out there.
All right. I'm gonna admit I share our schedule with them.
Yeah. Just tweet them.
Yep. I send it out
at yard guys.
Yep. At yard
Come
guys.
Now. Oh. Like say less. They're like screeching down the drive. Lawnmowers flying out of the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. It doesn't. I mean, we could look at the track list on this one if you want.
I know the track. That's the album I've listened to the most by them. That one's got like "Killing in the Name" and all of those songs.
They have four albums. Actually, I was wrong.
4 albums.
Yes, yeah. So this one has Bomb Track, "Killing in the Name," "Take the Power Back," "Settle for Nothing," "Bullet in the Head," "Know Your Enemy," "Wake Up," "Fistful of Steel," "Township," "Rebellion," and "Freedom."
Dude, that's the workout album for me. That one
Yeah,
gets
that's a
me
good
going.
one for sure.
That one gets me going.
So right now I'm at 5 points. You're at 4. It's your turn to return.
Oh, gosh, there's a couple that I feel like I'm not sure if they earn points from us, but they could potentially earn points from the position of other people. So one I wanted to bring up, but I don't really have much feeling with it, is Blur had an album come out this year, but we don't really care for Blur. So,
But was it like big or successful or?
It was this one. It was one of their okay performing ones, I believe. It's Modern Life is Rubbish. I'm pulling up the track listing. Yeah, it had For Tomorrow. Oh, that's a good one. But it just didn't have what is the one song? What is it? Song 4 or song 2? The name of that other song that is really famous by Blur that I always thought was a Gorillaz song. But that's not on this album, so that's why I was like, I'm not sure if I even want to promote this one. So there's that one as a potential. I also have another for sure point, I believe. I have Snoop Dogg's debut album, Doggy Style, which I don't know if you've ever listened to that album, but I'm a big fan. That one's
for sure.
Sweet.
I think maybe we don't count Blur if it didn't have any standouts or anything.
Yeah, like the single from it is
Obviously,
okay, but
Snoop
not my
Dogg,
favorite. So that's why I'm. It's the only reason I would want to give Blur a point is because it's the guy from Gorillaz, but it's not Gorillaz, so I'm gonna keep it.
And if it didn't stand on its own, yeah,
I'm gonna keep it suppressed.
Well, I have actually. It's funny. I was gonna kind of agree with you and say that, you know, a band that everyone knows that released an album that didn't have any hits, you know, probably wouldn't count. So I clicked on the Bon Jovi album from my year, which is Keep the Faith. And I scrolled down thinking like there's no hits that I recognize from this one. And then I saw it actually has Bed of Roses.
Oh.
So that's one of his big ones.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this album did. This also is notable. It was the last album to feature all the original members of Bon Jovi.
Really? I don't know much about his story. I know that his story goes back way further than I thought it did. When I was looking at like how early their music is, and like him with like, I don't know why, but like I associate him with short hair, and when I see him with the long 80s like blonde crazy hair, he's unrecognizable to me. But a lot of people only know him for that look. You know what I mean? It's so weird because he had that like cleanup shift in the 90s.
So it's funny. This album came out November 3rd, 92. That single Bed of Roses, and most of the singles actually came out in 93, even into 94. But the album itself was released in 92.
Yeah, so you get to claim the songs.
So, and since it has Bed of Roses, I would say probably this, because that's on his greatest hits. It's a big song.
Yeah, for sure. That one.
It's got a few others, but that's the one that really stood out to me. So I'll count that one. I counted you for Snoop Dogg.
Sweet. See, I don't know a whole bunch about...
I have another one I just noticed that's going to blow your mind. That's pretty crazy.
Really? Is it another album?
It's the original motion picture soundtrack for Aladdin.
Dude, I was wondering if you had a Disney album to pop in there. That's a good one too.
Once a week, I can show you the world pops in my head for no reason.
We're good. You're getting a point for that. For the Aladdin album for sure.
All right, so you got 2 to bring up now because it's sitting 7-5, so you haven't had a chance to answer yet.
You're right. You
got to answer for 2 now.
See, I'm making my money over here with debut albums. I've got Wu-Tang Clan's debut album.
Oh, that's big. Yeah, so that's 6.
Enter the Wu-Tang. Yup. And then it's not a debut, it's a second album, but the Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream came out.
Nice. What's on that one?
That one has Cherub Rock, Today.
Oh yeah, I love that song. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good album. Great album.
Yeah.
That was perfect. Rocket.
All right, so I got
it's got a lot of hits.
I have let's see. Oh, nice. I saw Sir Mix-a-Lot release an album, and it does have his song on it.
No way.
So Baby Got Back came out February 4th, 1992. I'm going to take that for my 8th point. I had some others, but I'm going to take that.
That's a good
Also,
one.
didn't realize Rick Rubin was a producer on that. I didn't know that.
Rick Rubin. I have one that I don't know if you're very familiar with them, but it's another debut for The Verve. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, I like them.
Bittersweet Symphony. I don't think
great.
I don't think that's on their debut. Let me pull it up and see what the track. It's like, oh god, this is not a normal album Wikipedia. Normally you hit track listing and it's just got the list. This one says songs 1 through 5 and there's just paragraphs instead of song listings. So this must be an interestingly weird album. So it definitely does not have any notable songs on it, but it is their debut. So I was like, maybe it'll get a point, maybe not. We can come back to that one. It's got a very cool artwork on the album.
Yeah, that was their debut?
Yep.
Yeah, I'd count that.
Sweet. I didn't know they were an English rock band.
So I'm going to go to Alice in Chains now. They released their EP Sap, which that probably isn't worthy of a point personally. It's got a couple little deeper cuts, but then they released Dirt, which is probably their biggest album.
Yeah.
And that has, I mean, every song on that album is essentially a well-known song of theirs.
That one's a home run.
With few exceptions.
Yeah, so, no, that's a home run.
It's got Rooster, Down in a Hole, Wood, which I think is actually technically their biggest song. Yeah, all kinds of hits on that one. So I'm going to take that one. I'm going to not take Sap because I think that one probably definitely maybe can't stand on its own, but definitely can't stand next to Dirt.
Yeah, no, Dirt definitely takes that in. I've got one that's interesting. We'll see how, I think you're a decent fan of this artist. I haven't actually talked to you about him in a while. I've got Lenny Kravitz's third studio album, Are You Gonna Go My Way, which has has the single Are You Gonna Go My Way, of course.
What else does it have on that?
Believe, Heaven Help, Is There Any Love in Your Heart? I'm not sure if there's anything else. My Love, Sugar, anything from the bonus. I think that might be the only song I really know from the album. So maybe I just try and get the point for the single. I don't know. I haven't listened to a whole bunch of Lenny. Like, I've listened to a lot of his radio stuff, and I love it. I do not know a lot of Lenny Kravitz deep cuts. So maybe that's worth my time at some point.
So you know the band Chic, right? Nile Rodgers.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I'm not sure.
Chic Mystique is one of their big songs that came out in my year off of an album that they put out in my year. Released January 92 as the second single. The song was a #1 hit in the U.S., but didn't reach the Billboard Hot Dance Club play, but didn't reach the Billboard Hot 100. It also had a lot of many European countries' success. Okay, but that's not the one that goes Freak Out, right? That one's called Freak Out, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I gotta hear this song to see if this is like one we know or.
Yeah, if you play it, I'll be able to hear it through the. I
mean, it sounds awesome.
That's funky.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think I've heard it, but I like it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, okay. It's good.
So that's no point there. I'll take instead. I have a few options, but I'll do Blind Melon. Their debut came out.
Ooh,
which of course has the single No Rain. They were not around very long, so yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't even know if they had other albums. They were not around very long.
They were good though. Definitely, that's definitely a point.
Great album for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely a point for you. I don't know this artist. Maybe you do. Liz Phair.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's her debut. Came out this year, but I'm not sure if I recognize her. I feel like I've seen the album artwork on one of the like Rolling Stone lists that we went over.
That sounds right. Yeah.
But all right, I'm not gonna use that one for now. Then
Ooh.
I could do this. I've got a Tupac album, his second studio album, and it did go platinum. Wondering if that one. Let me see if what singles are.
We are not using compilations, right?
I don't think so. What do you want your ruling to be? Is it like the?
This is a Lionel Richie compilation that came out.
Maybe not if it's old music.
It is his. It says it's his first compilation, which was released May 5th, 1992. It contains songs from both his successful solo career and as part of the band, along with 3 new tracks. The international version also includes, yeah, probably not with that.
Oh, nice. This Tupac album has I don't know how much Tupac you've heard, but it's got I Get
Not
Around. Yeah, holler if you hear me. It's a good one.
So that's your 10th point. Is that what you're taking? Did we rule on? Did you say Liz Fair?
Liz Fair's not gonna. I'm not submitting that one. I just don't know her enough to submit her as one of my entries. Dude, I feel like I have to submit this other album. It's your turn, but I'm loading this one in the chamber.
Let's talk through this one. Born into the 90s, R. Kelly's collaboration album with his group Public Announcement, released January 92. The album became an R&B hit, and with the success of singles She's Got That Vibe, Dedicated, and Kelly's first 2 number 1 R&B hits, Honey Love and Slow Dance. Hey, Mr. DJ, which I'm not familiar with, but it says he topped the Billboard R&B singles chart for 2 weeks and hit the top 40 respectively. And by June 1992, so within 6 months, it was certified platinum.
That sounds like a point to me.
And this was his only album with the group Public Announcement.
Yeah, I don't think I want to fight that. That sounds solid.
Cool.
I think you backed it up with the right facts. All right. I don't know a whole lot about this guy. I don't think you do either, but Bad Outta Hell 2, Back Into Hell came out this year. Yeah. So like, come on. For the album artwork alone, please.
He makes it.
I don't know why. I'm trying to remember where I remember seeing that. I used to always, I don't think it was in my parents' collection. It probably is in my parents' collection, but I feel like I remember seeing that album in like a friend of my parents' collection, if that makes sense. Like pretty consistently, I always saw this album lying around someone's house. I can't remember who that someone is. Now it's like got me so interested because I'm not like the biggest Meatloaf fan. I love him in Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I haven't really listened to his music a whole lot outside of that. How much have you listened to?
I think I know like Bad Outta Hell pretty good. Not much other than that. I'm not the biggest fan of like the very like performative, almost musically like type stuff. Where it's just like very flamboyant, over the top, that kind of stuff. Just never been. I can't think of the word.
Yeah, I know what you're describing. You're like I love the saxophone and stuff in songs, but like the way
that's fine. It's more of like
he incorporates it is. Like you said, it's more like showman-y Broadway kind of feeling.
It's like very bombastic and like
it's just not
operatic almost. It's like
that's the word, operatic. Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of anything like that. Like there's metal bands that do that. A lot of European metal bands actually. It's kind of funny. I can pretty much hear a metal band and guess if they're from America or Europe.
Yeah, you just can tell in their sound and the.
Yeah, they just have like kind of a funny accent when they sing, and then it's also just like very much like 1,000 men chanting instead of just like one guy singing, and then like there's always like strings playing over everything. It's
so let the people know. Would they find you at the Rock Opera?
I mean, probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, me neither. Gonna pass.
Depends on what else is going on that night.
Right.
All right. I submit Eric Clapton, Rush, the soundtrack for Rush, which includes Tears in Heavens, which won 3 Grammy Awards. Actually, it won the awards in your year, but it came out in my year, January 14th, 1992. So I think this is kind of during Eric Clapton's, quiet period. He's not doing a lot of inspired stuff, really. But then he comes out with, Tears in Heaven, which was huge. So
his revival album.
I don't think it was a revival album, but that song definitely did good.
Okay, we'll give you the point for the song being big, because my next album that I'm gonna submit is only, I think, gonna get a point because of a song on it.
That's I think what most of these are, pretty much.
Oh yeah, that's why I was like, it's got to be like, you've got to have like either a notable single or the album itself. We're debut albums we're giving bonus points towards. But I'm gonna submit Salt and Pepper. They're Very Necessary, which has Shoop on it, which is like gotta be one of the
again.
That one's from the they just say Shoop a lot. It's like Shoop, ba doop ba doop ba shoop.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that one, which is
it also has
What a Man, which I believe is the
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
What a man.
Yeah, so that one, this is a good album. This definitely is a point. I didn't know this came out in 93. That's awesome.
I'm going to submit Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power.
Ooh.
Which is their second album, and that has a lot of good songs on it. Mouth for War, Walk, This Love, Hollow. It's got a lot of heavy hitters on that album. Probably not quite as many as their first album, Highway to Hell, Cowboys from Hell, but still really good nonetheless.
Ooh, I don't know anything about this band. The album was but the album was certified platinum, so maybe. I've got Primus's Pork Soda.
Okay.
I haven't really listened to Primus a whole lot. I do believe my cousin Nick is a big fan, but the album came out in 93 and was certified platinum by 97. So that's not so bad for that style of music. I don't really know if any of the tracks would be I love the song is My Name is Mud. Love that.
I saw something on my list here that I have to bring up. Tool's Opiate. Which, if you remember,
the EP.
We just said, before there. So what you had was not actually their debut as a band, but it was their first full-length release.
Yeah, it says
Tool here.
It says
here
debut
is their
studio album.
I think this is their debut release, but it's just an EP.
Yeah, that's their debut release, but this is their first studio album. It was certified
platinum. Nice.
I liked the EP. It has like 3 live songs at the end that are pretty interesting.
Are we adding this to the list then?
I think we can each get a point for Tool.
I'll leave your point. I'll add my point.
I don't know much of this guy's individual music.
We're sitting at 14-13, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I don't know enough about Primus. And Ice Cube had an album come out in my year, but I don't know if I know any of the songs from it.
He did in mine as well.
And did yours go? Mine went platinum, but who knows how many years that took. I mean, I guess still going platinum shows that it's got to be somewhat.
So that's the Ice Cube album you want to. What is it?
Mine was Lethal Injection. His fourth. Did he release one every year? Jeez. No, mine came out in December. That's why. So if yours came out like early 92, that would make sense.
Okay, so I gave you a point for that. I saw Rob Zombie, White Zombie, released an album, and it has Thunder Kiss 65 on it. So I think that counts.
Really? Nice. Are there any What are the
Good stuff this year. One thing I take away from looking at all this music at this time is that music was definitely going through like a big change.
Yeah, there's a lot of diversity here, I gotta say. And yeah, this is, I mean, those early 90s we've seen come up in quite a few episodes and stuff, but you're right. It was a very drastic change in music from like the 80s shift into the 90s.
I need to see if I can find the Ice Cube one from my year that I thought I saw.
Yeah, what a cool couple of years. So neither of us, well, I think I have a single, but I can't remember. Did you have anything Guns N' Roses for your year?
Some stuff that charted, but it was all from Use Your Illusion, which came out in 91.
Gotcha.
Oh, Bruce Springsteen, Human Touch, and Lucky Town.
Oh,
That's
nice.
The
That's
double
right.
one
That's
you did,
right. The
right?
double. That's right. The double albums. They didn't do
Were
as
those,
well, but I liked them personally. I want
was
to give
gonna
you a
say,
point
did
because they
those-
were good.
All right, well, it's 2 albums. We'll give
The
one
first,
point. How
the
about
first
that?
one did much better than the second one did. The first one actually did all right, if I remember correctly, and then the second one just wasn't as much. So you could for sure at least get a point for the first one.
1 point. You got to answer with 2 now. We're sitting at 16-14.
Oh man, I've got Mariah Carey's Music Box album. I think was this her 4th or 5th? There's a 3rd. I was wrong, very wrong. It's her 3rd album. It's got a bunch of hits. It looks like Dream Lover, Hero, Anytime You Need a Friend, Never Forget You, Without You. All of these are singles. How was it on the charts? Looks like number 1 across the board. It was number 1 album on Billboard 200. Nice. This is a great performing. Oh my gosh, it went diamond.
Jeez. Yeah, that'll be a point.
Okay. My goodness, what an album. And then I don't know if this is a big one. I've got Janet Jackson's 5th album. I got to see if there's any singles on here. I'm not super familiar with her music. Oh, it looks like there's some singles. That's the Way Love Goes. You Want This. If. Throb. What I'll Do. Let me see. I got to look at the sales to confirm and the charts. This one also hit number 1 on the Billboard 200. And
that's your 16th in there. You get a point for that.
Yeah, and has gone 7 times platinum. Yeah, this is another big album. It looks like. Sweet.
I'm looking at Wish, the 9th studio album from The Cure, which I'm not super familiar with, but it does say Wish was the most commercially successful album in the band's career, debuting at number 1 in the UK, number 2 in the US, where it sold more than 1.2 million copies.
What are the songs on it?
The ones that are highlighted here as kind of the singles are High, Friday I'm in Love, and A Letter to Elise.
Okay. The Cure. I'm willing to submit a point for that.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with The Cure, so I couldn't tell you if that's their biggest or best songs, but I just saw it said most commercially successful. I was like, well, I got to bring that one up.
Ooh, I found another debut album for my year.
Nice.
I've got Counting Crows' debut album, August and Everything After. I don't know if I know a whole lot about them. Nice.
Counting Crows, you said?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a point for sure. So we're tied at 17 now. I got 2 here I want to bring up.
Ooh.
I'll do one at a time. Iron Maiden, Fear of the Dark, which is a big album. This is also the last one to feature Bruce Dickinson before he left, and then he ended up coming back in 99, but he left for a while there. Songs off this one are, Fear of the Dark would be the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one of their biggest albums, not one of their best albums, but it is an Iron Maiden album, which you don't get every year. So, what's the ruling there?
Yeah, I feel like their name is like weighs enough to give them a point, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I could give up a point.
All right.
Your
answer.
I still have a couple in the. You said I have to hit you with a double?
No, you got one. Got one. And I got one that you're going to love.
Ooh. You know, I'm going to say one that I don't necessarily love the album, but it's a debut for an artist that I do enjoy quite a bit. That's Jamiroquai. He's got his debut 93, Emergency on Planet Earth. It's not bad. I went and listened to it actually, just to give myself a reference when I was doing a little bit of the look through. And it's like it's just like most people, it's just like a rougher version of their potential a lot of times.
Right.
So like he ends up, it just sounds like, oh, he's just early in his career. And then you listen to him later and you're like, all right, it's so much better. But
gave you a point for that. We're tied at 18. Sweet. And I present the Black Crowes' second album, The Southern Harmony Musical Companion.
Oh man,
which I think was aside from their debut, their best, or best is subjective, but most successful.
That is a good one. That is for sure a point, especially how much you and I love.
Yeah, it's got Remedy's the big one, but then it's got Sting Me, Thorn in My Pride. Those are probably the real big ones off that. I also did a Bob Marley cover, which is kind of cool.
Dude, this is blowing my mind. In 1993, U2 released their 8th studio album, Zooropa. 8th album by 93. When did that? Were they early 80s? Or?
Dude, I'll give you one better. I was not going to submit this, but I was scrolling through and I saw Santana, so I moused over the album. His 17th studio album.
What?
In 1992.
What the hell?
Dude started in 1880.
My God. But what's funny is, remember, he didn't even have any albums when he got big. So then I guess he just...
I know, right?
So then I'm wondering if they must count it like, you know, he was a guitar player. So like he would get hired on and be on other people's albums. I feel like they weren't always necessarily his, or there's got to be something to that structure for him. There's no 17 albums in like the course of 20. I mean, I guess that's almost an album a year, but.
And I saw Kiss had an album my year as well. It's their 16th.
Really? Their 16th?
Yeah. It's called Revenge. And it says here, it's the first or their first album, to feature drummer Eric Singer, who I met on the Kiss Cruise.
Oh, nice.
So that's kind of funny.
That's cool.
I have a few more I know I got to get to. How are you looking?
I do believe I'm starting to run low. I'm looking through here.
I'm running low as well, but I've got
a couple. Yeah, I've got a couple things that I could submit here. I'll lead us off on this little ending back half. How about
you're one down, so you got to come back by one.
How about Sheryl Crow debut?
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I think there were a lot of good songs on that one too.
Let's see I'm pulling it up right now to see the track listing. Run Baby Run, Leaving Las Vegas, Strong Enough, Can't Cry Anymore, What I Can Do for You, All I Want to Do, and then a bonus song from the Brazilian release. Got to target the Brazilian market all by myself. Yeah, sweet. That's a good one. I had a lot of debuts in my year.
Yeah, a ton. I was reading a Faith No More album. This one doesn't seem to have anything really that stands out. I mean, apart from the song Jizzlobber.
Pardon?
Yep, exactly.
What?
Exactly. But I will submit I'm going to submit Images and Words by Dream Theater, which is one of their earliest. It has a song Pull Me Under on it, which is one of their biggest songs. It was the first to feature their singer James Labrie, who's been with them still today. And the song, it says Pull Me Under, it did okay, but then it was used in Guitar Hero and it like rejuvenated the whole album in 2008. So that's kind of cool. But if you're a Dream Theater fan, this is one of the albums people point to as being one of their best. It's got Another Day, Metropolis Part 1, Under a Glass Moon. I mean, lots of really good stuff here.
Nice. Solid entry. I've got one final entry and then I am out of gas.
This will put me at 20, and provided this one you're about to say gets a pass, you'll be at 20 as well.
And then we'll have to find something else on your side. So this one is, but I'm submitting this one just purely based on us seeing this album pop up a bunch of times on our Rolling Stone lists.
Mm-hmm.
We have not. I don't think we've listened to it, but it's the A Tribe Called Quest, their third studio album, Midnight Marauders.
Yep.
I was gonna say, if you pull it up, I have seen this on our top album list. I've seen stuff from the top songs list on it. So I do believe it looks like it's got some good certifications too. It was number 8 on the Billboard 200. It's been certified platinum. But I don't think I know any. I don't think I know any songs specifically. But it looks like it was definitely a meaningful album.
I'll give you a point for that. You're at 20. I think I'm going to put the nail in the coffin here with a few different ones.
Okay, yeah.
That I'm looking at here that I need to just make sure are good enough. Let's see here. What's on this one? All right, so let's start with the debut for Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh man, you're hitting me in my feels. That's good.
I don't know if you know this album. I don't recognize any of the songs on this album, really.
I'll pull it up because I have dove into them.
Oh, no, sorry. It has If I Had $1 Million. That's a huge one.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. That's why I was going to pull it up. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
That's
so
for sure a
20.
point. Yeah.
That puts me to 21. I have the Gin Blossom's second album.
Gin Blossom. I don't know if I'm familiar.
Which has Hey Jealousy on it. So Gin Blossoms is that band. Is if you pull up their biggest 2 hits, it's Hey Jealousy and Follow You Down. As soon as you hear it, you'll be transported back to like driving to the Ashford pool at like 8 years old.
Say it again, Jim.
Gin, like the drink, blossoms. Oh. Gin blossoms being, when people drink, they get those red.
Oh,
cheeks,
yeah.
And I got a couple more. I think that Gin Blossoms one having their biggest hit on it, I think that qualifies as a point.
Yeah, I'm about to listen to it. What's your next? Continue putting these nails in the coffin.
The debut album from Jackal, which has The Lumberjack, I Stand Alone, Dirty Little Mind, Down on Me, a ton of good songs. They're kind of they came out late, but they're basically like an 80s rock band, but they came out, in 92.
Oh, yeah.
They're from around here somewhere too, I want to say.
Okay. I just listened to the Hey Jealousy. Yeah, when the vocal comes in, that was the transportation moment.
Yep.
Back in time.
Yep, exactly. Are we going to count Jackal's debut?
I think so. I feel like I should fight you on one, but doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah,
I think I do believe I am.
Does a Garth Brooks Christmas album? How's that float your boat?
Well, Nicole would say yes.
It's his first Christmas album.
I mean, Nicole was a huge Garth Brooks fan, so she would definitely give me a look if I were to say no point. So I'm gonna vote point. I'll leave that up to you.
I'll leave that one off. I think I want to make sure I didn't miss anything just for the listeners. Ramones have an album. It's their 12th though, so I think we're probably good there.
Ramones?
Yep. Toto had Kingdom of Desire. It's not really much there, I don't think. Yeah, Sinead O'Connor had something. Jethro Tull, White Lion, Public Enemy. This is funny. They called it Greatest Misses. That's amazing. Instead of Greatest Hits. It's their first Greatest Hits. They called it Greatest Misses. That's funny. George Strait, he came out with it doesn't look like that has anything on it. ABBA's Greatest Hits. There was something I was going to bring up. It was the live AC/DC Live, which is a very famous live album. It came out this year.
I noticed that because a couple of the I do believe some singles were released in 93 following it, but that could be for something else.
Oh, here we go. This one gets a point. The Baha Men, their album that had Who Let the Dogs Out came out.
Oh, dude. Man, that's also some childhood. That's like childhood Nickelodeon. I don't know. They
know,
used to
right?
have like a, because the music video was on it, but it was from the Rugrats in Paris movie. Had that song on it. So then they had a Rugrats commercial of the music video that would come on a lot, and so that song will forever be nostalgic.
I know, right? You would know this one better than me, but Peter Gabriel's album Us.
Us. I'm looking it up right now. Peter Gabriel. Us.
Keep going down as you do. Oh, I left off a huge one.
Did you?
REM Automatic for the People.
Oh, that is a
That
huge
was on
one.
That was on the greatest of all time list that we looked up. And I believe it's their biggest album. So that one gets on there.
I was looking up some of my singles, other charting singles from my year, just to see if I missed anything. The song "Bad Boys," like from the movie,
nice.
It wasn't used. It wasn't. It's not that version, but it was like the original reggae song was that ends up being used, was written and came out that my year. So that's awesome.
That's good. I'm pushing you to 21. Four Non-Blondes. What's up? You know that one, right?
It sounds familiar. Yep. Oh, yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, so that somebody was doing the street performance of that when we were in Glasgow.
That's really funny.
That's really good.
So this is their, in 1992, October 13th, this is their only studio album, Four Non-Blondes. And it had What's Up and obviously some big songs on it. That really just the one, but
the one hit wonder.
I think they would probably count
a one hit wonder. Yeah.
Prince comes out with Love Symbol album. I don't know what's on that one, but there's
dude,
a Prince
you
album
never know what's on any Prince albums.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's Sexy Motherfucker.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Well,
some other stuff.
Being big Prince fans, I feel like we'll submit a point, right?
We could do that. Insane Clown Posse's debut came out.
Really?
So that band started started quotes in 1992, I guess.
I feel like that's a point. Not that I'm a big fan of them, but it sounds like it.
I'm not the biggest fan, and I don't really know them that well, but they did. There's the AC/DC live album. I don't know if we want to. Did we do a point for that already? Or are we not doing a point for that?
Probably no point for that because a live album.
Point for that. Got it. Pink Floyd Shine On. That's
okay.
I think that's a like
it says
Shine On is a 9
2?
CD. It's a 9 CD box set. So I don't think this is a album
box set.
No.
All right. What year did Division Bell come out again? 90 or 91?
I thought that was after this, but I'm not sure.
Is it later in 90?
Barry Manilow's got some stuff. I'm in November here, going chronological. Oh, the Whitney Houston movie was called The Bodyguard.
Okay, Division Bell came out in 94, right after. They started writing in early 93. Oh, The Bodyguard. Yeah, that was her first debut. That was her first acting role.
I found the Ice Cube album. It's called The Predator. Are you familiar?
Kevin Costner. The Predator?
Oh, shit, dude. It Was a Good Day. Check Yourself and Wicked were the 3 singles.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's definitely. I
think that counts.
For sure.
Oh, put the number in the wrong spot there. Almost done here, I think. Fleetwood Mac had a reissue thing.
Yeah, no reissues.
Spin Doctors. Oh, that's a live album. Journey put out like a box set. 9 Inch Nails put out an EP that doesn't have anything on it.
I'm gonna have to listen to this. The song came out for a movie, The Three Musketeers, written by Bryan Adams and Rod Stewart and Sting. It's got to be good, right?
That sounds pretty good to me.
Right.
oh, here's a big one that I meant to say way earlier than this. I can't believe I'm saying this essentially last. Dr. Dre's debut, The Chronic, comes out.
Oh, The Chronic came out that year? Dude, yeah.
December 15th.
Your year, I thought it was going to be close for a bit, but your year definitely ended up crushing.
That's That's pretty much all I have here. I'm gassed out at this point, I think. Everything else I see is singles from albums that we've already brought up. Wait, here's a new one. Here's one I might not have brought up. I Can't Dance was a single in 92, but it looks like the album came out in 91. Wow, so close. 30th of December.
30th. Oh.
And I Can't
Barely.
Dance, that's a great song.
Yeah, I love that song.
Okay, so I'm gonna shut myself down there. So that puts me at 30 and you're at 21.
Yeah. Unfortunate. But I think
a lot
we're
of heavy
but I think the numbers speak for
big
themselves.
debuts and
yeah, I had a
big
lot of debuts,
Honestly,
but you
though,
had a lot of big performers.
But then think about, like, we're thinking, 92 versus 93. Think about just being alive 92, 93. Like, we were born, so we don't really count. But
for our parents,
being a teenager, a young adult at 92, 93, just every week is like new stuff that becomes legendary.
Yeah, so I have very specific memories early. I always specifically remember, and I remember 3 albums getting played, like, from my dad when I was in the car, and I was very, very, very too young. Like, those early little sliver of memories that you don't know when or where, but they happened.
Yep.
It's like that. I remember The Division Bell by Pink Floyd. I remember the Black Album by Metallica, and I remember Bob Marley and the Wailers' Legend album. It was always those 3 albums.
What was the second one you said?
Metallica's Black Album.
Yeah. Okay. I thought that's what you said.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
my favorite Metallica album,
Metallica,
personally.
Pink Floyd, and then Bob Marley. Those were always the 3 I remember, like, in my earliest memories of music.
That's an awesome, like, diverse group right there.
Right?
That's awesome. Well, you know what I just thought we could do is have listeners submit their years of birth or anniversary, whatever year means a lot to them. And we could have listeners' years go head to head.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. We should definitely
And then you
do
and
that.
I are planning on doing
Battles of the Decades.
We were going to do Battles of the Decades. So, like, pick a year in the 60s. You get one, I get one. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, and 20s. And then 20s might be a little premature. And then we can, whichever wins those, we'll do it like a bracket. Whichever wins those, we'll put 60s versus 70s. We can figure out a good way to do it, I guess. And then figure out which year kind of wins the Melomaniax greatest year of all time for music,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That sounds awesome.
I think that could be pretty fun. I'm not sure the best way to do the bracket, but because is it fair to pit like the 60s against the thousands? Like I don't really know the best way to do that.
Yeah, there'd have to be some stipulation, and then with the grading, the pop charts and the Billboard 100 are going to be more meaningful now than they were back then. Right. But then album sales were more meaningful back then than they are now. So there's
and some of this is obviously subjective, right? I like blank more than blank, but a lot of the stuff we talked about is objective too. Like I brought up things that I'm not really familiar with, but they conquer the charts, in 1992.
Yeah, as long as the numbers speak for themselves, and
right.
We have the numbers here, so we are definitely going to incorporate, the sales and the popularity, even apart from our opinions. So,
and some of it's just kind of in the zeitgeist, like legendary status. Like I Will Always Love You. Like we don't need to look up the numbers. We know that it's on the radio 5 times a day in Belk. So it's like,
yeah, for sure.
It counts.
Well,
that'll do it for us today.
Yeah. 92 wins. Congratulations, sir.
That was a fun one. Yeah. What's my prize?
Research for the next episode.
a $10 gift card to the Melomaniax store.
Yes. Yep. I'll get that sent over to you immediately.
Or a $3 Starbucks gift card.
There you go.
Which will not cover a coffee, but it will get you basically half off.
Maybe a cake pop. I don't know.
There you go. Cake pops have probably doubled in price too, huh?
Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, anyways, we will see you guys next week. I'm not sure what's coming up next week due to our shooting schedule, but it's going to be dope. I know that.
Of course. Don't forget to check us out on all of our platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Give us a like, a 5-star rating. on all of our podcasting platforms like Apple
or a
Music,
1-star rating.
Apple, or yeah, honestly, ratings are just good. If you truly believe it's a 1-star, you know, I'm gonna need you to do your proper research, leave a full paragraph for me to read and analyze.
Yeah,
so that I
it
may
just says
improve.
these guys suck.
Yeah.
The username is like Ashton's dad. You're just like, dude,
Yeah.
what?
Come on, man.
Why did you didn't even try to hide who you were?
And we also have a Patreon if you want to support us that way. A $5 a month tier. That'll get you a shout out on our episode. It'll get you onto our private Discord and engage in some voting for future topics. But
like this one today.
Yeah. So this has been the Battle of the Years. I've been Ashton.
And I've been and will continue to be Dallas.